Hello. Hello.
Hello.
It's confusing. I'm not sure which one of us is supposed to start since you're usually the host of the podcast. This is my channel.
Well, you start. Since this is your channel.
Okay. Hi. Welcome to the Streaming Heap, where we talk about stuff. I'm bad at this. I'm terrible at this. I didn't have anything lined up.
I thought you would introduce your YouTube channel, and I would be like, "And welcome to a special episode of the Streaming Heap for those of you who are checking out the recorded version after." So let's just go with that as the intro.
There you go. Yeah. See, this is why he hosts and not me. I'm terrible at this. So anyway, I'm Eric. I'm the Unapologetic Geek. This is my YouTube channel if you're watching, and this is my co-host.
Excuse me, we're both co-hosts today, thank you. For those of you who are regulars of Eric's channel but hasn't seen me, my name is Lin, and I'm usually the host of the Streaming Heap. Today we're kind of doing a combined thing, you know? What do they call it? Cross-pollination? Is that a sex thing? I don't know. Eric thinks this is a live stream. For me, I'm considering it a speed run of getting Eric banned from YouTube. So,
yeah, I have no plans to monetize this particular video. I want us to try to stay PG, but it's not the end of the world if we don't.
Okay.
But there's still certain things you could probably say that would get me banned from YouTube. There's a list of words. I can't tell you what they are.
You made it sound so sinister.
We just got to pass the 2-minute mark, I think, and then we're safe. Yeah, so we got 4 more seconds.
Well, we just need to start spouting conspiracy stuff, right?
So yeah, there you go.
Then YouTube will protect us.
COVID. There we go.
All right, now that we got that out of the way, Eric, do you want to tell our listeners what we're actually doing this stream?
Okay, well, we started our podcast talking about Foundation, the Apple TV show Foundation, season 1. We went episode by episode to the whole thing. We podcast
called it Cracking Foundation.
It was called Cracking Foundation. And so now that we're gearing up for season 2, which starts next week, we figured we'd do a recap of season 1, maybe talk about some stuff from season 2. I've grabbed some screenshots from the trailer so we can talk about that too. But as always, if you haven't listened to us before and you are a fan of the TV show Foundation, the deal is I've read the books, but I'm not going to spoil them. I'm really going to try very hard not to say, well, in the books, because that'll just get tedious. And Lin has not read the books.
I have not read the books. I tried to read the books, and then I got lazy and life got in the way.
The first one's really short, man.
I know. I have it I think I bought a physical book and an audible version. And I did not get through either of them.
Well, I have the whole trilogy, the first trilogy right here. It's substantial.
Yeah. It's smaller than some fantasy books.
Yeah, it's smaller than a Wheel of Time book or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's 20 of them.
That's true. My wife reads them for fun all the time.
You say that other people read them for other reasons than fun? Like obligation?
Well, people read for fun, really? I've only read Foundation for this. No, that's not true. I've read Foundation 4 times now.
Sorry, just 1 second.
Go ahead. I'm going to say hi to Baked Bean. How's it going?
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
I didn't know you have this little thing. That's awesome.
Do. See? And he's going to ask questions. He's asking how faithful is it to the books?
I have no idea.
The answer depends. It's taking the basic story and kind of remixing it and changing some of the characters around. It's not extremely faithful to the books, but it is faithful to the spirit of the books, I think.
And I know you saying that sentence about being faithful to the spirit of the book is going to cause a lot of arguments.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of people who disagree with me. There's a lot of book purists who hate this show, hate. But I actually really love it. And reading it again after watching season 1, I kind of respect it a little bit more. There's little tiny things that happen in the book that are kind of throwaway things. One thing I will talk about, this is not really a spoiler. The character of Salvor Hardin, who's a man in the book, when he's first introduced, he flips a coin. And it's just a throwaway thing that he does to break up the dialogue. It's not a major plot point. And in the show, if you've watched the show, flipping a coin is Salvor Hardin's thing. She does it throughout the entire series. So
Okay. Another thing I want to pipe in is, though, I know for a fact that the first book is more written like a matter of factly, like almost like a historical, book. It's not like very character driven.
it's got some memorable characters, but you're right, it is more dry.
And you can't do that with TV shows,
No,
which is why a lot of old and epic sci-fi is hard to adapt, because old and epic sci-fi are usually like that. So yeah, like in that metric, at least, I think they have to change a lot, right?
Yeah, and one of the biggest complaints from book purists is that the characters of Gale and Salvor are made like they're kind of like the one. They're like the chosen one characters, and they recur throughout the whole story. And like that's very different from the books. Gale in the book is barely a character. He shows up for like the very beginning of the book, and that's it. But she's like the main character of Foundation, even though in season 1 she was sidelined a lot and made some really dumb decisions, which we'll talk about. But like I understand that for a show you kind of have to have through characters who persist. I mean, you're telling a story that spans 1,000 years. You've got to have like somebody who's there the whole time, and that they do this a couple of different ways. You've got a lot more Harry Seldon than you do in the books. You've got the Emperor, who isn't even a character in the books, really, is like has this genetic dynasty thing going. So you can keep having Lee Pace and then more Lee Pace, which is great. Stuff like that. That's basically the nuts and bolts biggest difference. Also, the show, I mean, is taking some of what the extended book, like the prequel books and the sequel books, and kind of like showing you stuff that you don't actually see in the books, but is referred to. So like you're seeing more of the story. Like it's opened up more than it was in the books, which is also a good thing.
Yeah, and what Eric touched upon about already about the needing to be through line characters for a TV show, that's causing the show to have come up with a lot of creative way for people to last a long time. You can clearly see that in the Gale and the Salvor Hardin storyline, which I understand, even though I haven't read the books, I understand why some people wouldn't be happy about it, because even as a show-only watcher, like I already see that there's a lot of contrivances to bounce them around from era to era, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But one thing I will appreciate with them, the Cleon's genetic dynasty, the way they have that 3 clone is entirely made up for the show, and it is by far the most interesting idea I've seen in modern history for modern science fiction in a long time.
Yeah, I love it. And it, like you said, it's completely made up for the series. It's not in the books at all. But I think it's great, and it's very well done. There's some stuff towards the end of season 1 where it was all about like the genetic dynasty being infiltrated, and you had the girl trying to coax away the teenage brother Dawn. Yeah, and that was it went on for way too long, especially when I rewatched the first season. I'm like, this is kind of pointless at this point. It's just move along. But I like where it ends, where you learn that the genetic dynasty has been corrupted completely, that every Cleon is different, which if you listen to our podcast, we kind of saw that coming a long time ago. But it's cool. Yeah. And we're going to see
although we never trusted Azura. We never trusted Azura.
No, not once. So like I like that, and I'm really curious to see what they do with that in season 2. But yeah, we'll talk about that when we talk about season 2. I still just want to kind of recap season 1. I've been talking a lot, Lin, so now it's your turn. Speak.
Okay, so you want me to recap season 1?
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing? All right, let me pull out my notes. That's why I've been looking down at my phone. Sorry, bear with us a little bit. This is a new thing for me and a new setup. So I guess if we want to recap season 1, there's essentially 3 storylines. It first start with little Cleon voice getting a little bit upset at Harry Seldon for his math-based prophecies that that kind of did say Cleons are gonna fuck up.
Right.
The foundation is gonna go away. I'm sorry, the empire is gonna go away, and humanity is gonna be plunged into 30,000 years of darkness. But Harry come up with a solution that says using psychohistory, one neat tricks, Cleons hate him. He can reduce that down to a mere 1,000 years. And one of the things he predicted is a major attack on the empire, and that happens in the form of a massive 9/11 metaphor. Massive attack on the space elevator, which resulted in the Cleons exiling Harry to Terminus on the edge of the civilized system to start the foundation. They saw it as a win-win situation because if Harry is right, then and they need the foundation, okay, go start the foundation over there. If Harry is wrong, he's all the way the fuck over there.
Right.
We'll take a jump ship and we'll glass it. It'll be fine. But Harry has plans within the plan, and that's when the stories diverge, right? One, stay with the Cleons, and it jumped from Cleon to Cleon. The first brother the first brother Dawn we kind of see him through to day and dusk throughout the first season. That can be a little bit confusing. Episode to episode, they don't jump back and forth with the Cleons. They follow a linear.
No, the show is still very linear. Yeah,
on the Cleon
on the Cleon side. Yeah. Gale's kind of all over the place, but
yeah. But you have to pay attention to which number they are to know which one is Lee Pace's play, right?
But the two actors who play Day and Dusk do a really, really good job of like portraying slightly different versions of themselves. Like, so you can kind of see that progression, because the very first Day we meet is very he's very mean. He's very like he's very aggressive. He really wants to cause trouble. He wants to blow up Anacreon and Thespis, and that's what he does. And then later, when you see him as Dusk, the actor who plays him as Dusk plays him more aggressively, plays him as kind of an angry old man. And like I appreciate that progression. And you see Day, you see him as a kid, you see him as when he's Dawn, and then when he grows up to be Day, you see he's a little bit softer. He doesn't have all the hard edges, and he's more curious. And he's willing to do things like go to that planet with the crone and the maiden and all that.
Maiden. The planet is literally called Maiden.
Right, there you go. So I really do like that, and I really want to see that persist. Even though, spoiler alert, the Dawn we see at the end gets killed by Demerzel. So we're not going to see that character again, that version of Cleon again.
Yeah, but there will be another Dawn, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And also, we did end on a slight cliffhanger as to whether or not the brother Dusk is already being corrupted. I don't think he is. Like, we could see like a genetic dynasty civil war if the brother Dusk hasn't been corrupted, which is a more interesting option.
I would love for that to happen. Yeah,
really cool. Then we could have like two Cleons fighting against each other. The one thing is though. I know I should keep recapping, but this comes up. So, the thing about what you said about us noticing the Dawn, Day, Dusk, the one we're following being the last pure one, is quite apparent in the very beginning. Demerzel tells to the baby Dawn that he asks, how often do we choose the violent way? And she said, in the end, we always choose the violent. You always seem to choose the violent way. And then at the very end, when he's Dusk, he wants Dawn put to death. He wants the corrupted Dawn put to death. But the Day, who we later find out in the giant finale twist, has also been corrupted. Well, he wants to forgive Dawn, so the corruption is already present. Did I freeze on your screen?
Yeah, you're frozen, but I can still hear you just fine.
What a pose I've frozen.
You look like you're very thoughtful.
yeah, I am very thoughtful. Well, I don't know what to do about that, so I'm just gonna keep going.
And just keep rolling, and if you come back, you come back. I mean, as long as I can still hear you, it's no big deal.
Look, just imagine that I am stuck in that pose, like I'm actually frozen.
And you're a great ventriloquist.
So on the Gale front, she's come from a watery planet that like climate change is causing water to rise, right? They're gonna drown soon, but the planet also like drown scientists. So it's not really a very subtle metaphor,
not at all,
very subtle political documentary, but you know, if the shoe fits. But she won a math competition that allowed her to be implicated in terrorism, I guess.
Yes, because math is evil and math is bad.
Oh, no, I mean, like, eventually, like, meeting Harry, and then she just gets exiled.
Yeah, she immediately gets exiled. Like 2 days later, she's gone. Yeah.
But yeah, on the way to Terminus, she falls for what would you call it? Harry's adopted son and protege, Rach.
Right.
Unbeknownst to her, Rach is tasked with murdering Harry by Harry himself as part of his plan to be martyred. Right? Like he think he has like a brain degenerative disease. And he also he think he will be more effective as a martyred creator than if he keep living and then people witness him degenerate, you know?
Right, yeah. He wants to continue to be a legend.
Yeah. One thing you have to know about that, I don't know if this is present in the books at all as well, is Harry is a bit of a bastard and an egomaniac.
That is true to the books, yes.
But because of that, Gale, Rage put Gale in like a cryogenic pod and just shot her into space with a dagger that he killed Harry with, and the little like memory recording device, the chip thing that they put in the back of the head. And she wakes up like 35 years later in a ship called the Raven, which is clearly also designed by Harry. Also, in this show, at least, Harry is kind of magic. he just know everything that's gonna happen.
Yeah, even more so than in the books.
Yeah. And then there's a hologram Harry that we assume come from the dagger, not the ship itself. And I think there's a lot of evidence pointing that way.
It seems pretty clear to me, yeah.
Yeah, the hologram doesn't come out until the dagger was plugged into the ship. And there's arguments. There's we keep cutting back and forth between that and the future/present day Terminus Foundation. And it all ends with two major things. Gale realized she can kind of see the future, something they've been hinting the whole show, and she doesn't want to truck with Harry's stupid shit anymore. Harry's plan is, Harry said the Raven is headed to his home planet where he's going to start the second foundation.
Yeah, he was originally supposed to do that with Rach, but Rach changed because he fell in love with Gale. The plan changed.
No, I don't think so. I think
that's what he says. That's what Harry says.
Okay. Yeah. I don't remember that, but I definitely remember Harry saying Gale was supposed to start the first foundation.
Gale was supposed to stay at the first foundation and lead them. Yeah, that's the role that Salver eventually played. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah. Rach is not starting either of the foundation because he got spaced for murdering Harry.
He is very dead and very cold. Yeah.
Maybe in this show, sometimes things get put into space and just shows up later. So Gale decided that where she need to go back is her terrible anti-science water world.
For some
reason, she take a 130-year casket journey back there, and the Raven burned up in the sun.
Yeah.
She takes the dagger with her. That's
She
important.
does take the dagger with her, and then she crashes on Sanax,
Yeah.
which is her home planet, and of course it's completely flooded. So why did she do that? She basically doomed herself. Yeah.
Well, no, because she can see the future. Speaking of who else can see the future, we continue with the ship to the start of the Foundation. When they get to Terminus, there is a mysterious vault that is already there.
Yep.
Which, look, the show didn't reveal it until the very end. And as soon as the vault appeared, I made a joke that Eric laughed at me for. He treated like I was insane. I was like, hey, what if that what if that vault was Harry's coffin?
And I said, that's stupid.
What was it, Eric? What did the vault turn out to be?
Definitely wasn't Harry's coffin. That would be dumb. No, it was Harry's coffin.
Yeah. He took some nanite pills and 3D printed himself a vault out of his coffin, I guess. They did make a point that he reconstructed the coffin to bring it on the journey, but it somehow beat the ship to Terminus.
Somehow he had built in a tiny little jump drive in his casket, which is weird that was in the plans, but it makes sense because the problem with jump drives, other than the technology is kind of esoteric, is that consciousness, you can't deal with it consciously unless you're
we don't see it jumping, and scientifically I don't have too much problem at it, because as long as he timed the trajectory, that part, the practical part, how did he time the trajectory exactly, that itself is a problem. But because the ship is heading towards Terminus anyway, if you launch the coffin from the ship, it would already be traveling at the speed the ship is traveling in. So as long as he put some sort of limited acceleration and navigation in there, he could beat the ship.
I guess that's technically true if you're following classical physics and assuming that they're not exceeding the speed of light, which they are. So, but that doesn't matter.
We'll take classical physics and then magic on the part of all the actual
there's lots of magic,
navigation required and the mental calculations that a dead body in a coffin has to make. But the Foundation starts on Terminus, and then eventually the warden, who's just like the sheriff, Selval Hardin, we're introduced to her. And I was like, hey, do you think that's Gil's daughter? It was. Even we meet her parents quickly, so we're like, oh, okay. But there was a thing called a seed bank on the ship.
So they made a point of showing you that Gale had dropped off something at the seed bank. Yeah,
which has turned out to be Har and Rach Chap, which Selval is, who also have a special mythical magical powers, which means she can approach the vault, which other people can't approach without passing out. The Foundation storyline, to very quickly recap, is essentially the two planets that the Cleons blamed the terrorist attack on the space elevator on. Anacreon Thespids is nearby to Terminus, and Anacreons attack the Foundation. We don't really know why. They just kind of generally shitty. I think they want to lure. Oh yeah, that's right. They want to lure the emperors out.
This whole plan was just to get some people with scientific knowledge to repair the Invictus, which they had just discovered, and then use it to basically destroy Trantor, which is the seat of the Empire.
Yeah. Well, they also think the Emperor will come out if they threaten the Foundation. They don't know that the Emperor doesn't give a shit about the Foundation.
Emperor's busy with other things.
Yeah, they have their own problem with their prostitute garden and the genetic degradation. Are we getting you banned? Yeah.
No, not yet. We're not using the name we used in our podcast.
Yeah, that's true. I tried to tone it down a little bit, but it all ends with Gale she, like she's the main character. She stopped an attack, and then Harry's hologram come out of the coffin vault, and then tell a little story that united the thespians. I'm just gonna call them thespians, which is Space Australia, by the way, because Hugo, the main thespian we meet, speak with a heavy Australian accent.
Yeah, he's very Australian. Yeah.
We decided that it's Space Australia. Anyway, hologram Harry, different hologram Harry, not to be confused with the other hologram Harry.
And they clearly, like, these two different versions of Harry do not communicate between each other.
No.
They, like, each one knows information that the other one doesn't, which is kind of cool.
The two different versions of special bastards. He tell them a little story about how Cleon's probably engineered the original feud in the first place. It was a little bit too easy, to be honest, but he unite them and convinced them to team up with the Foundation to start a civilization together and keep, Invictus in their back pocket. And,
it is a little bit too wrapped up in a bow, but like they tried at least to sow the seeds for that when Salvor is talking to the one guy and like trying to convince him that, he's got a family, he's got to try to live for something, when, the Grand Huntress of Anacreon wants to just destroy. She just wants to kill everything.
Yeah, she has childhood trauma and she's all about continuing to pay that forward. But it's okay because Salvor, hello, Danny State.
Hey, Danny. How's it going?
Greetings from Brisbane, Australia.
Where everything is frozen.
But that's okay though, because the Huntress got a arrow through the throat, courtesy of Salvor Hard.
No, it wasn't Salvor. Was it Salvor? It was Salvor who just shot her. You're right.
Yeah. Using her own bow as well, which is just rude.
And Lance is here. Yeah, some of my regulars are showing up. Hey guys.
I'm gonna call you Tug now, by the way.
Yeah, they call me Tug. Everybody on this channel knows me as Tug.
Okay. So, sorry for calling you Eric.
I know, they call me Eric too every once in a while. They know my name. It's not a secret.
Well, but your social security number is, which I have right here, 8.
Yeah, he's showing it to the camera for all the good that does.
Okay, so the big thing that happened at the end is Salvor was also like, I think I have to go to that shitty water planet too.
Right.
And then take Hugo's ship, the Bagger, which I love, and fuck off there. And the season ends with Gale arriving in Sinex and discovering the crash Bagger and then fishing out Salvor from it. So mother and daughter, who's roughly the same age.
The daughter's a couple years older. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think the daughter's older. Reuniting on the watery planet with shit all on it. And somebody on Discord said it is their headcanon that the planet was fine until Salvor crash landed on it.
That's pretty funny.
But yeah, that's a recap of season 1 for everybody who needed to remember that.
That was pretty good. I mean, let's see where we ended the season. The genetic dynasty's been corrupted. We know that. That's the cliffhanger on that end. And Demerzal was so infuriated by all of this, by having to kill Dawn and by like realizing that the Cleon that she loves is kind of not there anymore. She like rips her whole face off, and what happens?
Is that why? We don't know why.
We're not really sure.
We just know that she's mad. I have theories.
I do too, but we'll talk about that. And also, we don't know who blew up the space elevator. Not really.
No, it's fucking Harry. It's Harry.
I know you. Harry was involved. I don't know if he actually did it, but he was definitely involved. But we don't know any of that for a fact yet.
The space elevator was an inside job. Harry did space elevator.
And then you've got the Foundation, Anacreon, and Thespis all working together to soup up the Invictus so that they have some kind of armament against the Empire when the Empire does eventually care about them. And then, you have Gale and Salvor off on Sinex trying to decide what to do next. Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, I'm trying to see if I can fix my camera. You can keep talking.
Yeah, it's fine.
Uh,
So this is going to be a little tricky for the podcast listeners. I brought a bunch of screenshots from the trailers for season 2, so we can use that to talk about season 2. And
okay. Well, before we do that, can I first suggest that we talk about a little bit of like what's hanging from?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can
one.
keep doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Go for it. Yeah, what else do you have?
Hold up. Okay, well, this camera is refusing to cooperate. I made it worse because I'm just a loading screen now. That's my bad.
Whoop, that didn't work.
Yeah, I did try switching that, but it doesn't work. Okay.
I'm just playing around with the format. This is great.
Yep, it's awesome. Hold on, let me just replug in and unplug in. Okay, let's start with the genetic dynasty first. So on the genetic dynasty side, you already said that our cliffhanger is a corruption, and we don't know who started the rebellion that where the corruption was part of the plan.
Right, and I feel like we're going to know more about that in season 2. I think that's definitely going to come back around. But I also think the corruption isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like the genetic dynasty is obviously a bad thing. So the fact that it's a little broken down is probably a good thing. Because as Harry Seldon said, and as that one awful lady who was also in the Peripheral said, the genetic dynasty is what's leading to the ruin of the empire. It's a cause of stagnation. So,
you're very genetic dynasty pilled, aren't you? Because you're calling her an awful lady. She's right. She
was right, but she was still awful. She's way worse in the Peripheral. So it's like
you just
some of that's kind of like leaked.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever really hated her the first time I watched this. So it's just Peripheral.
Yeah. What I'm gonna say is that combining that, I think Damrosol did it. I think Damrosol started the whole corruption rebellion thing because I think she bought into. Well, we know that she believed in Luminism, and we know she actually have a little bit more in common with the woman that you're describing from Luminism that she.
Yeah, I can't remember her name. I really wish I could.
Halima.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Halima has this thing called the Doctrine of Primary Otave, right? Where she said a soul is tied to a body, which make Cleons kind of abomination, because they just clones. They're soulless.
Like your image.
Yeah. Oh, am I still frozen on your screen? Or is
You're just totally black now.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I might as well just make myself Sola. There you go.
Yes.
It's just me now. And that voice in my head.
That's how I always want to live. But yes. Hold on.
Watch as I drink Snapple.
What are you talking about? Oh yeah, Halima. So Damrosol, in believing that she was also present when Harry was doing his psychohistory presentations and stuff. If she bought even a little bit into what he's saying about the stagnancies of the Cleons, is leading to the downfall of the Empire, and she even said her loyalty is to the Empire. Which is a little bit confusing because
there's a bit of a wordplay there.
Yeah, because they call all the Cleons Empire as well. That's how you address all three of them, and also the Empire, right?
Right.
So, which one is she loyal to? She did snap one of them's neck.
Well, at that point, like you could write that off easily because it was so corrupted. Like that was a corrupted clone. It wasn't really Cleon. It wasn't really Empire. Even though she did say right before that, "You will always be Empire to me. I will always love you."
Yes. And what I also want to point out is that we talk about the Trinity, the divine femininity, in regard to the religion, especially on that episode, the Maiden, where the Emperor Brother Day go for a walkabout. But one thing I realized on like recaps and stuff is I forgot to mention that like the genetic dynasty itself is kind of like the corruption of the divine femininity, because the idea of the three sisters in one, the aspect is
he's back.
Hey, I'm back. Is that it is the mother maiden and the crone, and the genetic dynasty is kind of set up as that, but male, right?
Right.
Like you have Brother Dawn, Brother Day, and Brother Dusk, and Dusk is supposed to be the one who impart the knowledge. Dawn is supposed to be the one that learns everything. Day is supposed to be the one that is in the middle, rule, and get knowledge from one side and teach from the other. So like, mother, maiden, crone, but male. But they're also sterile. They make a point about that. The Cleons are steriles,
right?
So like there is a corruption of that metaphor, that concept, and also throughout the series, you can see that Cleon is a bad father. Like,
True.
If he's acting as a father to Dawn, he's terrible. Like different days, like the pre-corrupted day, the more aggressive day is terrible in a different way.
Yeah, but they're both terrible.
The corrupted day is terrible in a different way, and even if you think of it as a father to the Empire, right, which he act like he is, he's also terrible. Like he collapsed 2 planets in episode 2 without any evidence. And then of course we have Damrosol, who's filling in the mother role for all 3 of them. Like, so I thought that's also a very interesting setup. But yeah, I digress, but my big theory is that Damrosol started that to stop the stagnation. But then another question becomes, if the Cleons are not stagnant anymore because of this corruption that is being introduced, which, by the way, the reveal is that it's being introduced to the original corpse of the original Cleon itself. There's no going back.
Which Day smashes in the last episode anyway.
He just smashed the coffin. But if the Dusk is uncorrupted, then maybe there's a way through the old Dusk.
That's possible.
But if does the corruption change what psychohistory predict? Will that fix Empire? Like, will it actually help them?
I mean, that's an open question,
right?
But according to Harry Seldon's own rules, it takes a lot to change. Like, it takes a massive change to affect near future. Like, that's not as massive of a change, at least in the near term, as it would be in the long term. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying.
Well, and also briefly, I want to ask if the Cleons represent the divine femininity, but the masculine version of it, which is the divine femininity that offset them? Because there's 2 sources. The religion of Luminism itself, or they have 3 religious leaders. Like the planet itself is called Maiden. The goddess have 3 aspects, so they already are using the divine femininity metaphor and symbolism. And then we also have Selvo Hardin and Gale already, which is like, the mother and the maiden. Who's their crone? Is it Harry?
Harry is kind of a crone.
Yeah, he fits. So I'm just saying, like, that metaphor, which is, if you read Neil Gaiman's work, it shows up everywhere, and in a lot of mythology as well, it shows up everywhere. The Fates, the Furies, even Medusa has 2 sisters,
and Day does a really good job of like exploiting that when he talks about the 3-petaled flower he saw in his vision that didn't happen. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting going forward.
Hi Tracy, how's it going?
Hello.
This is Lin.
And I'm actually moving again. But yeah, it's what were we talking about? I lost.
We were talking about Maiden. and
the
tripartite
Cleos.
femininity. And all
Yeah,
that,
yeah. Going forward, I think the one thing is that is going to be very important about season 2 is in season 1, the genetic dynasty was by far the most interesting storyline. To a point where a lot of people who are watching, including us, sometimes got very frustrated with the other storylines in which nothing was happening or annoying things were happening. Like we're not those people who blame it on the gender swap of Gil and Salvo and stuff. That's not it. And I think those two actresses also turned in great performance. I think everybody in this show turned in great performances. It's just the storylines over there seem to be like a bit of a definitely deliberately stretched out in a bit of a holding pattern, especially Gil. Gil just got pinball from location to location to location so she could end up where she was.
I found her story the most frustrating, mostly because they only told it at the very end of every episode. They would like tease little tiny bits and pieces of it. It was very frustrating.
So what's the plot that is hanging for the Gale and the Foundation side that you'd be interested in going forward?
Well, the thing that concerns me the most is that one of the things that helped them at the end of the first crisis was that they had the thing. They had the MacGuffin, the Prime Radiant. They had the Prime Radiant, and that's what helped them open the vault. Like they couldn't have opened the vault without it, is what it seemed like. But now Salvor took the Prime Radiant for reasons and gives it to Gale. So that's a big concern for me. Like, they kind of need that back on Terminus 150 years ago.
Do they?
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe the vault
is fucking magic.
Maybe the vault just opened at that time, and it was just coincidence. Because he did say this, the null field expanding was just him waking up because it takes a long time to build a consciousness. And it was like its defense mechanism. So maybe it was just coincidental timing because it was going to open one way or another, I think.
He say that, but on the Raven, it just seemed you just have to plug in a dagger and it's fine.
That's true. That didn't take nearly as long. It was a little glitchy at first, but only for like a few minutes.
Well, for the Gale and Salvo reunion, I am interested in where that goes and that dynamic of the.
I do want to see their dynamic together because I do like those two actors playing those two roles and the whole mother-daughter dynamic. Like all that sounds really interesting to me.
Yes, and especially because like Salvo is way more of a hardened warrior than Gale is, even though Gale's been through her fair share of crap, and also they have both the dagger and the Prime Radiant, and Harry was supposed to go start the second foundation on his home planet. I forgot what it is.
It's Helicon.
Helicon, which you said after the fact, you reveal things to me about what happens in the book when you think it has been diverged enough. Apparently, in the books, that is where the second foundation is, right?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough then. But that doesn't matter anymore because the Raven burned up in the sun. So my question is, does Salvo and Gale start the second foundation?
I think so. And there are reasons I think that I can't really describe without spoiling book stuff. But it is also possible that it's still going to happen on Helicon because Harry the hologram did say that he had allies who were going to help them on Helicon. So like they may already be trying to set up the second foundation. True. So
you can never have enough redundancies.
That's true.
Maybe there'll be a third foundation. The third foundation was the friends we made along the way.
But I do think that with the Prime Radiant and with their, psychic abilities or whatever.
And the dagger.
I think they are going to start the second foundation. And I think that's moving forward. We're actually going to see the birth of the second foundation, which is something you don't actually see in the books at all. It's just like it comes in a few hundred years into the story. There's a second foundation. Like it comes out of nowhere.
I froze again. Hooray!
Yeah, that's a better look for you though. At least you look happy.
Okay. Growing pains, people. Bear with us.
It's a live stream. None of my live streams have ever gone off without a hitch, so don't worry about it.
And on the side of the foundation itself, I am hopeful because they once again leave it in an interesting place. The three planets, Terminus, Thespian, and Acreon, are starting the Foundation together. Something the Genetic Dynasty probably doesn't know about, and they also have the Invictus, which is something they probably also doesn't know about because the Empire does send the Navy to check it out, but they blew it all up. So they'll have to be like, "Oh, nothing happened. There was some trouble." To whoever come there for follow up. But if they successfully pull that off, they could be building a decent army / civilization.
Yeah, because they said they can replicate
in the
it.
shadows.
They have one, they can build another. They say that in the episodes. So
Yeah, they did. Yeah, which I didn't buy because there was like even with all the three civilizations combined, there cannot be more than like a couple of 100,000 of them. I don't know if they're going to be building gigantic.
Yeah, I don't either because
junctions.
Thespin and Anacreon are both decimated by the literal definition of decimation, and Terminus has no metal, so I don't see how they could possibly rebuild it, build another one. But like, there was one tiny little tease from the Invictus that I want to revisit because it's completely outside the books. Like, it has nothing to do with the books, but it's a really cool tease. When they go aboard the ship and there's that whole like Event Horizon scene where they go to the bridge and everybody's dead and there's blood everywhere. Somebody had written EXO in blood on the guiding navigational ball or whatever. And they even say it in the episode that they think maybe they left the galaxy and that's where they wrote that. And I'm really curious about that because, like I said, it's not from the books at all. Like, there's nothing like that in the books, and I think that's just really cool.
Okay, EXO. I feel like if you're gonna write things in blood, you got to be less cryptic, guys.
Yeah, really. Like, he ran out of blood. What can you say?
Write smaller. It doesn't have to be that big. And also there is a little bit of like intriguing stuff about the people on the ship, like the weird genetically engineered people in the ship that can be awake through a jump. Also we forgot to mention at one point Gale woke up in the middle of a jump, right? And she was fine.
Right. Hey, Keith. Bye, Keith. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Keith.
Thanks for hitting that thumbs up.
Yeah. So, okay. So, do you want to talk about trailers and what we expect from the show, season 2?
Yeah. Let me just go ahead and pull up the pictures because I think it'll give us a good starting point.
You wanna get some little tiny bit of negativity out of the way, like because in season 1 we didn't like everything about this show, and I think it's boring if you're
not diehard fans. Like, we can nitpick it, and there were some things we really didn't like. Yeah,
and for me, especially, the more a diehard fan I am, the better the show is to good enough to actually grapple with this idea. The more I'm going to nitpick because it's fun to analyze things. But a couple of things in this show that we thought was just straight up kind of like drop the ball. Harry's speech at the end, I hated it. You didn't hate it as much as me, but I kind of feel like this show used flashbacks all the time. I kind of feel like there was a flashback needed there. I think if the story he tells is like Cleon deliberately pitted these two planets against each other to start a fight, and he tell a little story about a woman poisoning the emperor or something like that. If they just did a little flashback to show us, the audience, that it was Demrazol, who's a robot and immortal, so it could have been her, that I think that would have made that scene a lot better.
Yeah, maybe that's true. But like, I don't know. My expectations for Harry's speech were very low because, again, I know I keep bringing up the books. In the books, Harry shows up as a hologram, gives a very short speech, maybe like 3 paragraphs, and it doesn't say anything. And he disappears again. So like, I wasn't expecting anything. I really wasn't. He actually says a lot more in the show than he ever did in the book. So.
Fair. Is Anacreon and Thespis, were they in the books?
Anacreon was, Thespis not, actually.
Oh, okay. They just needed to introduce.
There was another kingdom that I think they they just changed the name because it was called Smyrno in the book, and that's a terrible name.
Smyrno sounds like what the enemies of the Smurf would call them as a slur if they ever go to war.
In the books, it was a little more complicated because there was actually 4 different kingdoms. Anacreon was the big one. That's the one they had the biggest conflict with, but there were 4 of them total.
Yeah, we definitely did not need more complication in this show.
Yeah.
Another thing is, and we both agree on this, Salvor and Gale going back to Sinix is stupid.
It's just dumb. I don't understand it.
When you left, you're like, when Gale left, it was like, within 30 years, this place will be underwater. Why would you go back to it 160 years after? And the way the show justify it is Gale thinks she has to go there because her premonition, like her special powers, make her think that's where she's needed, because Salvor's gonna be there. Salvor go there because her premonition powers think Gale is gonna be there. That's I don't like that.
It's a logical circle. It's begging the question. Yeah, I don't like that either at all. I mean, I know the story, they wanted them to unite somewhere, and I get Salvor leaving to go find Gale, but at the same time, I don't understand why Salvor would choose Synax. I don't know why Gale would choose Synax as a meeting point.
Special powers. Yeah.
And that's just too much of a cheat. It's too much. Like I can accept that they have special powers. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That was just a bridge too far for me. I will say the one thing I hated the most about the show, and I really hope they're not going to keep going with this, but they probably will, is Gale's narration at the beginning of every episode. Because sometimes it was just drivel. It was like like she was reading poetry that didn't make any sense. It was dumb. And I was tired of it by the end.
It reminds me of beginning of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball, where he's like, and that day I learned you cannot run from your own shoes. Like, same vibe, same quality. This show does make good use of their budget, which is high, clearly high, but not insane like Rings of Power or that Dance with Dragons or whatever, Family of Dragons or whatever that Game of Thrones new show is called. But you guys need to hire better pyrotechnics.
Yeah, they had a big problem with the fight scenes. Yeah. And I can try to give them the benefit of the doubt and say COVID was the real problem there, but still, it was weak. Those fight scenes were just bad, and like it was changing from night to day, and that bugged the crap out of me.
Yes, and also one in particular, when Anacreon invades.
Good night, Tracy.
Good night. When Anacreon invade Terminus, the exploding ground annoyed the crap out of me, because that's like Power Rangers level effects, man. Like, remember, like in the old Power Rangers shows, when they get hit with any sharp weapons, they can't show blood, so there were sparks fly everywhere. That was happening out of the sand on the ground. I don't like. Why would you rig it up like that? Come on, you're on Apple TV.
I also didn't quite understand some of the things that happened, like in that like there was these massive platoons on all sides of the city, which is a tiny little village basically, and they come running in, guns blazing, and like 3 people die. Yeah. What?
The grounds explode. Like, were there mines in there? Are they just shooting the ground?
I don't know. It was dumb. It didn't work for me. And we talked about that at length after that episode.
Yes. And I hate to break it to you, I saw some exploding grounds in some of those trailers. Also, and last but not least, especially because this is supposed to be pretty hard sci-fi in the beginning, yes, psychohistory is magic. We're just going to have to live with that. Psychohistory is magic, and clearly Gil and Salvo is becoming some sort of freaking Jedis. But outside of that, the science bits are supposed to be vaguely real, but the space trouble and how long it take, and how like things like Gale's cryogenic tube ending up exactly where the Raven is waiting for her, and he's like things like the coffin vault thing beating the ship to Terminus. That's a little bit shaky, but that's okay. I mean, I'm just gonna brush it off.
No, you got to kind of go with that. And
Yeah.
to be fair, I mean, Isaac Asimov, he did know a lot of good science. He was a good scientist, but the Foundation series isn't really that hard sci-fi. It's more fantasy than science fiction. It's a more science fiction than say Dune, but it's still pretty fantastical. I mean, the whole psychic thing is in the book, so I mean that's there. And it doesn't go into a whole lot of detail about certain things like hyper jumps and stuff, which is stuff that he's explored in other books and other stories. So like he can kind of just not address it in the Foundation series because he's already addressed it somewhere else, and all of his books kind of interlink. So there's that. But yeah, it's not as hard sci-fi as you're saying.
Yeah. But still, people didn't like the some of the space travel fudging of the details. But,
yeah, and I don't either. Like, don't get me wrong. I really wish they would flesh it out a little more. Yeah.
And all of those things, most of these, I'm not too stressed about it going forward. I think they can be changed. I don't think they hired new pyrotechnicians and watching those trailers. And like I said, season 1 left pretty much all the storyline in interesting places. So I am looking forward to it. So that being said, come on, hit us with these things.
Okay, well, this first one that has been on the screen for a while now is pretty easy. That's just the Invictus orbiting a planet that looks like it has water, so it's not Terminus. But that, I mean, it's a cool shot, and I just wanted to bring it up so that the Invictus is obviously still part of the story.
Yeah. Well, is that the Invictus, or is that a new ship?
It could be a new ship, but it's the same design as the Invictus, the 3 wheels with the tiny little piece in the center. Uh-oh, we've lost Lin. What happened? Where'd you go? Ah! Oh no, I'll have to do this without him for a while. Lin, come back. Come back. Oh, there he is.
Hello.
I don't know what just happened.
Either. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. I can see you just fine, and you're moving. It's nice.
Excellent. Okay, well, apparently me trying to fix the camera did fix the camera, but made me drop off for a little bit.
That's no big deal.
Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, that looked better. Like, I mean, the Invictus.
It does. It looks pretty.
It is based on the idea of like a Dyson sphere.
Kind of, yeah.
And if I'm remembering right, when they do jump, they do create like a gigantic energy ball in the middle ring, right? So
yeah, kind of like the thing like in Contact. Yeah,
kind of like a Dyson sphere, like around the sun. Yeah, who they attacking? I don't know.
Maybe it's Trantor, maybe not. Maybe it's, you know.
I feel like Trantor would have a lot more lights.
Yeah, and I don't think you'd see water on Trantor either because it's all one big city. Yeah. Trantor is essentially just Coruscant. Yeah, it is basically. Okay, so more space stuff. This one I think is really cool because now you're seeing a whole planet wrapped up in 3 rings and an Imperial ship approaching. I don't know what to make of this other than it's really cool, and it actually reminds me more of Arthur C. Clarke than Isaac Asimov because
that's a Dyson sphere.
That's more like a Dyson sphere if it was a planet. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's really interesting. And it, like I said, it reminds me of Arthur C. Clarke because in 3001, I think he went from space elevators to having big rings around planets. I thought that was just really cool.
That is really cool. But do you think it's design being similar? Do you think that planet can freaking jump? That'd be cool.
Whoa, that would be awesome. Jumping. I'd be totally down with that.
But that would only work if it is if this planet is made entirely out of those special people that can stay awake.
Right, the spacers. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just like a planet full of people that pass out and wake up somewhere else in the galaxy.
Right. Okay, so this next picture is from like the beginning of one of the episodes. At first, I thought these were Bishop's Claws, but they're not. There's some other alien species that like run across the ground and then suddenly turn into a flock of demons flying.
Wait, they look like Bishop Claws. Are you sure they're not Bishop Claws?
I'm pretty sure they're not because they've got like this red mane on them. They look a little different. Like I slowed down the video and watched it very carefully.
Maybe they
could be like a different breed of them or something. Yeah. But I don't know what the hell this is. I have no basis for what this could possibly be, but I just think it's really interesting and cool.
They're also a lot bigger than Bishop's Claws.
That's true. They're huge.
We saw one of them and Cleon screaming at each other.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that. Okay, I kind of like went like storyline to storyline. Like there seems to be some distinctive storylines going on. And first you've got Gale and Salvor. They're still together. Yep. And it looks like they're going on from place to place, and they've got the beggar still. So obviously they somehow get the beggar off of Synax.
It's still fine. It's like we see
totally
a couple shots of flying around, which is funny because it was fucked up. There was like a hole in it.
So they magicked their way out of there.
Hey, Space Australia make great spaceships. Okay,
it's true. Maybe Hugo stowed away.
Yeah,
he fixed it.
Actually, a little tease for people. Stick around until the end. I have some inside scoops.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
we can talk about those. And here we have another shot of Salvor being a badass. And she's throwing a knife. I cannot tell if it's Raish's knife or not, but it's a knife.
We do see Raish's knife at some point in one of the trailers.
We do.
What? Yeah, Gale seemed to be threatening Salvor with it. So she still has it. That can be confirmed. But that scene was cool. She throws it, right? Like,
yeah, she throws it. Like, I couldn't get a good shot because it's all in motion. Everything's motion blurred. But I just really liked it. It was really badass.
Yeah.
And Salvor's looking lithe. Like, she looks like she's lost some fat and gained some muscle tone. So, like, I'm really down with that. That's good. Yeah, and she's got a cool haircut.
I mean, it doesn't make sense that she gained muscle tone because she was in cryogenic. If anything, she should be losing muscle tone.
Yeah, true. Anyway. Maybe she was working out on the beggar.
Hey, giant robot spider!
Giant robot spiders! It happened!
Giant robot spider! Okay, people
this
who
is part of
our podcast. Yeah.
Okay. For the people on the podcast, what we're looking at is giant robotic spiders that seem to have come up out of the ground and are like climbing a mountain. This is part of a long sequence that we kind of see throughout all the different trailers. Like you see little cuts of it here and there. It looks like the beggar with Gale and Salvor on it are underground, and then they come across these big mechanical spiders.
Yeah.
And then they shoot up out of the ground while these mechanical spiders shoot up out of the ground. And then these mechanical spiders start climbing this mountain, and then they go up to a statue and start destroying it while the beggar flies away.
It's not a statue of Cleon.
I don't know what that is a statue of. Yeah, that's not Cleon.
It actually looked like a statue of an adult Avatar egg.
Could be.
But yeah, actually, these are a bit more like mechanical crabs rather than spiders. We just like to see spiders because they fit our running joke of mechanical spiders.
That one producer. Yeah.
That one producers. Yeah.
I don't know. It could be a spider. It's got 4 legs, but it also looks like it's got 4 more legs that are kind of like curled up on top of it.
Yeah. I think these are like mining machines.
Yeah,
I think that's what
something like that. I mean, they're obviously able to move in the ground really easily.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Whoever statue that is, though, Gale and Salvor is fucking it up. They're not going to be happy about that.
Yeah. It's lost its hand.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Next one. Okay, this is a scene of. I'm sorry, I just suddenly realized that it's an audio format for half of our audience, so I should be describing. This is a shot of Harry angrily screaming from one of the trailers. He looked a little bit beat up, which, keep in mind, he's a fucking hologram. It also happened in season 1, which I think is probably his consciousness just remembering the trauma in his when he died. So it's in the same state. But I know for a fact why you took this screenshot, Eric, because this is the shot where he yelled, "You like we are up for reckoning, you and me," or something like that.
Right. And the trailer's cut
to make it look
like he's talking to Cleon, but I'm not sure that that's actually what's happening. Especially in this shot where like he's all dirty. Like it's not necessarily that he's messed up; he's just dirty, and he's got red eyes. Like I don't know. It looks like a human has done this. It doesn't look like a hologram anymore, because why would a hologram have red eyes and dirt on its face?
Maybe they cloned him.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Who knows? We know
They cloned
cloning is a
him.
thing.
They cloned him and then waited until he's old enough to be played by the same actor again.
Because Jared Harris is awesome. We give the character a lot of crap, but Jared Harris nails it.
And we give the character crap not because he's a bad character or bad.
No, he's a great character. Yeah.
He's just an awful man.
And as I've mentioned before, in the books he is too, and he's modeled after Isaac Asimov. So this is what Isaac Asimov sees himself as.
I did laugh at that scene though, because he's like, it's time for a reckoning. And I'm like, you're a hologram, and also like an ancient old man.
And if you are talking to Cleon, that's like not the same Cleon, man.
Yeah, it's not the same Cleon. And if you're talking to Brother Day would beat you like a Cherokee dog.
True. Remember when he screamed that one guy to death in season 1?
Yeah, that's right.
Answer me!
Brother Day screamed at a man in season 1, and that guy had a heart attack.
That was great.
Lee Pace can scream at me anytime. I mean, what? You describe this shot, Eric.
Okay, this is Gale doing a force push. I don't know what this is about. And you also see, like, I didn't take a screenshot of it, but you kind of see like 3 people like flying in the wake of this force push, which is bizarre. Seeing the future is one thing. Being able to move things with your mind is another. So I'm not really sure where they're going with this or if I even like it. But
for those of us who watch Gundam, this is new type bullshit right there.
Yeah.
Because a lot of sci-fi does that where like, oh, when we venture out into space, we'll evolve in different, exciting way. And Gundam started with a like, oh, because we'll be all spread out and there'll be so little of us, we'll develop psychic powers to communicate with each other's batters. And then like 20 episodes later, you're like, you can see the future. You have special powers. Like, all right, man. That's where this is heading.
What's funny is I mentioned before that there's psychic powers in the book, but like the psychic powers in the book are mostly just mind reading, and that's actually the one power we haven't seen yet. So
no, we have seen it. We have seen it in season 1. Silver mind read.
Oh, that's right. She does mind read the Grand Huntress. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And she sees like a whole origin story from
right.
Interesting power. Very cinematic.
I mean, it looked cool, but at the same time, I'm not sure I want force powers in this show. It's a bit much for me.
Yeah.
And here
because you know it's gonna come and go as the plot.
Of course, it's not gonna be used well.
Yeah.
Okay, now we got another picture. This is of Gale sitting in a village of people all dressed in white.
Yeah, she has an interesting necklace.
She's wearing an interesting necklace. All the characters seem to be wearing something interesting. Good costume design. They do still kind of look like Mad Max rejects. I kind of know what this is from like the written description of season 2, but I don't know if we want to get into that or not.
Written description?
Yeah, there's a written description for season 2. Have you seen that?
No, if it is out there in written description, I think we can talk about it.
Okay, give me a second and I will pull it up. You just talk about this picture for a second.
I mean, she's giving like a lot of like, missionary here to teach and village kind of vibe. Like she's surrounded by children. This can't be cynics because there's no water to be seen.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely not cynics.
Yeah, and they all also dressed up in a way that we haven't seen before, like not like cynics, and it's giving pretty strong cult vibe. Really,
definitely gives a cult vibe,
especially because the necklace they put on her. I presume these people put it on her because she's just wearing her flight jacket underneath. Seem to be a bit ceremonial, so I don't know. When in doubt, I guess start a cult. I hear it's good for your self-esteem.
Okay, come on. I totally saw this and now I can't find it. Give me a second. I will find it because it's just like 2 sentences. It's really brief. Yeah,
I mean, there's not much else to. Oh, is that hammocks in the background? Do they live in hammocks?
Maybe
I'm
like
in. Sign me into this cult.
that weird time machine remake that had everybody living in hammocks.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forget there's a time machine remake. Just like I forget there's a Planet of the Apes remake before the good remakes, the one with Marky Mark. I was reminded of that recently.
Okay, well, I can't find it, but I can tell you the gist of it just from memory. Because like I said, it's only a couple sentences.
Yeah.
What they're saying this is about is Gale and Salvor have to deal with this group of Mentalics who threaten to derail the plan. And at the same time, Cleon is dealing with an uprising from within and also wants to deal with the Foundation. So, I mean, that's the basic idea.
Okay, so first of all, I don't think these are the Mentalics, because there's another trailer in which you see the people that are confronting Empire and Brother Day, and they look very different. They dress a lot more technologically advanced, like not super advanced, but like not as Amish as these guys, and they don't all dressed in white. And I think those are the Mentalic. And second of all, what the fuck are Mentalics?
Yeah, exactly. What is that?
I swear to God, it's new type bullshit again.
Hi, Joe. This is Joe.
Raw and unprepared. That's how I live my life.
He's my graphics guy.
Nice. Okay, so what was the second thing you said about Cleons having to deal with?
Oh, like we'll get to that, but yeah, Cleons are dealing with an uprising from a queen whose name I forget, but I have it written up here when I get to the picture.
Oh, maybe those people I saw are not the Mentalics. Maybe that's the queen.
Okay. I think I know what the people you're talking about, and I don't want to tell you what they are.
Okay.
But one thing I will show you is this, because I have no idea what this is, other than some guy from a cyberpunk TV show with shocker gloves.
That's Mega Man from the cover of the original SNES game.
It's the original Mega Man cover. I love it. You see him fighting who I think is Gale. Might be Salvor. It's a very blurry motion blur, but I think it's Gale. He's fighting Gale for some reason. I don't know why. But he looks cool. He looks like cyberpunk. Yeah. Doesn't look like part of the show, but it looks cool.
You know what worries me about behind him? There seems to be the ground is on fire.
You're not wrong. Somebody has blown up the ground again.
All right. Okay. Let's move on from Mega Man, which doesn't give us a crumb of context.
We have absolutely no idea what this is about. So yeah.
Cool goggles then.
Okay, this guy has been confirmed to be the character of Hober Mallow.
Okay,
who was name dropped in the very first episode when Gale was talking about the main figures of the Foundation's history. Yeah. Hober Mallow was the second to last one.
Yeah. I remember two names, Hober Mallow and the Mule.
The Mule, right.
I am excited to meet the Mule, who I presume will be played by The Rock. Because I don't know anything about these people. It's just names to me. I know for a fact that these names are significant to people who read the books because they're all very excited about it.
Yes.
There's also another shot in which the name Hober Mallow is kind of like etched into or graffiti onto the vault itself in glowing paint. Did you catch that?
No, I have no idea what that is. That's weird.
In one of the trailers, I saw that. I paused it and I'm like, I'm going to tell Eric about this.
Somehow I missed that, even though I was like going frame by frame on these things.
It is. There's like a lot of trailers out there. So
there are. I was going through the 4 that are on the variation. YouTube channel. So anyway, this is Hober Mallow. I'm very excited. Can't tell you why I'm excited, but I am.
The actor looked familiar. Do you know what else he's been in?
No idea. He's not familiar to me. So
maybe it's just generic bearded guy familiar.
I don't even remember his name off the top of my head. I got it like right here.
His name's Hober Mallow, man. You just
no, the actor who plays him is Dimitri Leonidas. So if that helps, it doesn't. But yeah,
cool though.
So we see a lot of shots of this scene in particular where it looks like he's going into this big chamber, like that has zero gravity, and he's talking to what look like spacers, specifically this lady.
They do a little choreographed routine that I like.
Yeah. Very cool. And here's a closer look at her. Now, I wanted to highlight this picture too, because the guy in the background, that could be the actor who is confirmed to play a character named Bel Rios, who's also from the books, and I can't tell you who he is. But he also kind of looks like Gerald from the very beginning of season 1. But I don't think it's Gerald, because I think he's been dead for a long time. But he kind of looks like him.
Gerald? Who was
Gerald? You remember Gerald? He was the guy who greeted Gail when she got on the ship.
He took her to the church.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
No, Rach took her to the church. This was just the guy who like met her and was like, "You're from Synax, aren't you?" Yeah.
Yeah.
And then later it turns out he was in the employ of the Emperor.
Yeah, he was a spy. Yeah.
He was like the spy master of the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so next we got Brother Day. Now,
and Brother Dawn in the background.
I love this version of Day. He looks so good. Like, I love the hair. I love the like slight wrinkles. I don't know. There's just something about this particular version of Day. He looks very different from the Days from season 1, but I don't know. He just seems like he has more emotion, and I'm ready for that.
Lee Pace is one of the most underrated actors of our time.
Yes, I totally agree with you now. I didn't agree with you before, but I agree with you now.
he bring his A game no matter what. Like he was giving almost nothing to work with as Ronin. And the plot really didn't focus on what he is about. But every time he's on camera, he bring his A game. Like,
see, the problem with me was I first saw him in Guardians of the Galaxy's Ronin, did nothing for me. Then I saw him in The Hobbit, again, did nothing for me. Because those are like his 2 worst roles.
Yeah, but like he's doing the best he could with what he's given, which is nothing.
True.
Like, I like Guardians of the Galaxy, but it had to introduce the Guardians. It didn't want to spend any time on Ronin. For anybody who like Brother Day from this, go back and watch Pushing Daisies. It is one of his best roles.
Lin is going to keep saying that until I actually go watch it.
Yes. Yeah. It's Brian Fuller, I think.
That name's very familiar to me.
Known for a really good show that is canceled before their time.
Also, we've confirmed that Dusk is coming back.
Yeah. Well,
cool.
we don't know which Dusk it is.
We don't know which Dusk this is at all.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I love the actor. Just as I like Lee Pace. I think this actor really nails it. He's doing a great job.
Yes. Yeah.
And
I
also,
think
there's a Brother Dawn.
Is that a Brother Dawn?
I think
it's a different younger brother.
Not 100%, but I think so.
Different actor, obviously.
Yeah.
The thing with is I think in the genetic dynasty, all 3 actors are great. But I think maybe Dawn is the weakest. But at the same time, Dawn, like the Dawn we follow most, or like the whole point is he's divergent. So maybe it isn't the actor's
I don't want to. I don't want to
fit.
throw any shade at the actor, because the character was kind of a whiny douche. Like, he was written that way. Like, that was what he's supposed to be, and that's why he was so vulnerable.
But I don't want to go to the prostitute garden. I want to flirt with the person I employ, because that power dynamic isn't creepy at all.
So I will pick the prostitute that kind of looks like her, and then not do anything with her. Creepy.
I'm glad he got his next death. That's a lie. I was quite sad when he died.
I was too. Like that. I mean, I liked the character. I liked the actor playing him. Like, I didn't like the character as a person, but I liked the character as a character. I just think we spent way too much time with him.
Yeah.
And then also, that's weird. We also got Demerzel back. We see her in a couple of different shots.
Yes.
So that confirms one thing that I was worried about. Like, I thought in season 2 we might not see this version of Demerzel again. Like, after she ripped off her face, maybe she was going to put on a new face and be somebody else. But nope, she's still here, and she's still with the Empire.
Yeah, the negotiation, negotiation with the actress went well. Clearly, dude.
Oh yeah, that might be part of it. Yeah.
I am wondering whether or not we'll see 2 different versions of Demerzels in this, because it could just be her from two very different scenes, but she's still with the Cleons, because we see her with the Cleons in some of the trailers. But there's also scenes with her, like, with a hood, clearly on like leaving the scene after doing something nefarious under the hood. And I don't know, her vibe seemed different. So maybe she just like undercover mission, but yeah.
She's definitely an X factor at this point. Like, I'm really curious to see what they do with her, because her character is very interesting. She's a robot, but she's religious, and you know, she's true to the Empire. But what does that mean exactly? I mean, I love Demerzel as a character. She fascinates me.
We also forgot to mention that she is the last of the robots.
Right, she's the only robot after the Robot Wars. Yeah.
Yes. For people who don't know, this like Foundation, at least in the books, is set in the futures of where the iRobot series are set in. So all the iRobot series are still like the rules still applies and stuff. But sort of. Yeah, I mean, like there's Zeroth law and stuff. But she clearly either have Zeroth law or is no longer bound by the 3 laws of robotics, because she did snap somebody's neck in the first season.
Also, it's worth noting for people who have read the book that this isn't going the way it's going to go in the book, because they didn't have the rights to a certain character from the Robot series. So they basically, the character of Demerzel is also in the book, but they've kind of changed it so that it fits this show and not the story from the book, because that would be infringing on iRobot stuff. So that's important to note.
Capitalism always getting in the way of good entertainment.
Yes.
Pay your writers.
You're right. You're right, Baked Bean. Dusk is played by a theater actor. He's actually a Shakespearean theater actor. He's really good. Just FYI.
Lee Pace is also a Shakespearean.
That's true. Okay, and this is the queen.
Right?
That's trying to overthrow Day, apparently.
Is that the mule?
No. And what's interesting here is she's in the birthing chamber with all the clones. Like, what's she doing there? Other than reciting poetry.
Yeah, they gotta stop letting people into that chamber.
Yeah, like, really. They need locks on those doors.
Last time they let somebody in, it went bad. And also, like, watching yourself as a baby growing up, kind of creepy, guy. And also, the last time they let somebody in this chamber, it was like a little bit in the way of like a flirty, like trying to be vulnerable, trying to ingratiate yourself and get into somebody's pets context. I wonder if the same thing is happening here. That's a creepy move you have, Cleon.
Yeah, Cleon just staring at her back there. Okay, now here's a couple more characters. We know their names. First of all, this guy on the right, that's Polly from season 1. He was a kid in season 1.
I do not remember.
You don't remember Polly? He was like one of the kids. He was the one who actually tried to reach the vault. But
yes. Okay, I do remember. Yeah. I do remember now. Yeah. Wait, what are they doing back on Trantor? Oh,
I have no idea. That blows my mind that they're on Trantor, because it looks like they're on Trantor, obviously. Yeah.
For visual, for the audio listener, it's like a bunch of Imperial guards escorting Polly and one other, I want to say lady. The shot is a little bit blurry.
It's also a little confusing because that is Brother Constant.
Oh, okay.
And it's obviously a woman, like the actress is a woman. So I don't know. And they are being led by guards with the Imperial logo on their hat.
Yep. And they see some of them have like riot gears on. So
right. And these two characters, Polly and Brother Constant, are wearing red robes, which I think is significant because we also see in other trailers, I didn't grab any screenshots of this. You see Brother Day, the Empire, like beating up somebody in red robes. So,
okay. All right. Next.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Yeah. We got 2 left. Here we see Day on Terminus with Demerzel behind him. And it looks like Polly behind her. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. And maybe like the remains of the vault?
Yeah, it kind of either looks like tents or the remains of the vault or something. I think they're walking towards the vault, though. I think he's screaming at the vault. But I could be wrong.
He's yelling, how did the coffin turn into this?
And speaking of Lord of the Rings, he's wearing mithril.
His little I'm going out clubbing mithril mesh shirt is brilliant.
And then of course the scene that's in almost I think all the trailers I saw, you see a Bishop's Claw attacking Brother Day. still on Trantor, I assume, since that's where Bishop's Claws are.
It looked like a Bishop Claw, but it's so much bigger now.
It's so big, yeah. And yeah, it wants to eat his face.
Yeah.
We'll see how that pans out. I doubt that they're going to kill the Empire in this scene since they show it in all the trailers. It's not going to happen.
Yes. Yeah. And, he has the ability to yell at a man until they have a heart attack. So maybe...
maybe he just yells at the Bishop's Claw until it dies. Tell me!
Yeah. I mean, Lee Pace is made for yelling things at people.
So anyway, that's all the pictures I grabbed. I could have kept going, but I had to stop at some point.
Yes, fair enough. Okay, so I have a couple of little notes, I think. Let me pull them up.
Go for
the line is time we rejoin the fight.
Right.
Generic as fuck.
I didn't like that line at all. Yeah.
Yeah. I know they put generic lines in trailers.
It sounded like a trailer line. I really hope it is,
yeah.
and it's not in the actual show.
And also, like, is it time you rejoin the fight? You guys left the fight deliberately.
Yeah, totally.
Literally hundreds of years into the future because you don't give a shit about the fight.
It's not your fight. You both agreed on that.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Outside of that, maybe in the podcast version you can put little spoilers or timestamps because I do have some inside scoop from people who knows somebody who worked on the production team.
Ooh.
They prefer to remain anonymous, so I'm not gonna say anything else about them or where I got this. They did specifically told me not to credit them directly.
They're going to get fired because of this, aren't they?
So you can also tell if you've been paying attention to some Instagram posts from the actors and who get tagged and stuff as well. Hugo's back. Our favorite Australian, space Australian, is in season 2.
Well, he was already like old in terms of how many years he'd lived because he was always traveling through space, so he was always adding years to his life. So it's possible. I'm glad. I love Hugo. He's one of my favorite characters.
Now, like, all we know is he was on set and was in scenes. It could be flashbacks, but he's definitely in season 2.
Cool. Maybe his consciousness is on the beggar.
Stop putting consciousness in places, okay? It's fine. Introduce us to new characters after a time skip. We'll follow them. Stop ping-ponging people back and forth. You can have Gil and Selvar. You already established that. That's fine. And also on the Empire side, like, Cleon's a clone and Demrazil's a robot. So we already have some through lines. So. Right, true. Genius move with the Cleons, by the way. Genius move. Second scoop is a little bit more vague and will kind of be something that will confirm our scoop once we see it, I guess. Shot is described of somebody jumping from a spaceship to spaceship in the middle of space. The person was mentioned as a he. No more detail could be wrangled out of them, so the character was mentioned as a he.
That's pretty vague. I mean, we saw that happen in the first season too when they jumped to the Invictus.
This is true. But this was a fun production detail. Apparently, they built a perplex, like fake glass corridor for the crew to stand in and shoot for that one scene, and then destroyed it after. So that sounds cool, but maybe use that budget for better pyrotechnics.
This is the hill Lin will die on. The exploding hill that Lin will die on.
Yeah, but it sounds like in the Invictus they had what do you call it? Spacesuits. This kind of sounds like this might be somebody's like last ditch effort to save themselves. I don't know if they have spacesuits. So, this doesn't sound like a spacewalk. This sounds like either onboarding action or like trying to save themselves. Cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
This is not more of a scoop for the future, but this is more kind of like production details. Apparently, that mural like the awesome moving mural. Slightly, it moves slightly, right? Or am I imagining?
Right. It's all kind of like trippy, kind of like,
yeah. That the Empire has, showing the dynasty, showing the genetic dynasty, the highlights.
Just to give Brother Dusk something to do, apparently.
Yeah. Apparently, after the shooting was done, they just destroyed it. I know.
What? Why? They could do so much with like really bad interpretations of color blindness with that thing.
Yeah, I mean, that whole colorblind subplot. I'm like, I'm colorblind. I can see that. But yeah, anything else you want to touch on?
I'm excited. I can kind of see like the little through lines from the books. So like I can see where they're going with it, and I'm really, really excited to see that. But also a lot of this is stuff that's completely new, and I'm even more excited for that. I'm really excited to see what they do with Cleon and the Dynasty. Cleon showing up on Terminus, that blows my mind. I can't wait to see how that plays out, because that's obviously not from the books.
Yeah. Well, nobody outside the Empire is given access to those jump ship, but Cleon, like, he can travel within a day because they do have jump ships.
Right. And I think in one of the trailers you even see him in a jump ship, like with the mesh going over his face. Yeah.
He's always freaked out by the spaces. I like that.
They are freaky, man.
They are freaky. And little housekeeping for those of you who are listening to the podcast version of it, maybe go check out Eric's YouTube channel, The Unapologetic Geek, which I'm sure he will put it up in video form, and you'll learn by weekly podcast pain of Eric just like reacting to things I say visually, but not saying anything. Like in visual form, you guys will finally understand my pain of how sometimes it sounds like I'm just ranting for 10 minutes, and Eric is just like nodding or like looking at me skeptically or like laughing silently. Sometimes he laughs silently.
Whereas Lin right now is showing you the exact opposite. He's not moving at all.
My video froze again. So finally come understand my weekly pain and check out his channel. And of course, the people who watch these videos on your channel, come check out our podcast, now called the Streaming Heap. For people who are checking in when we were called Cracking Foundation as well, it should be still the same feed on any podcast, but you can search for us as the Streaming Heap on podcast app of your choice.
And where can they email us if they want to contact us?
You can email us at the stream. No. You can email us at the Streaming Heap at outlook.com.
Gotcha.
That's the Streaming Heap at outlook.com. And you can find me on Threads.
Of course, you went to Threads.
I think my name, I think you can just find me as Lin Tat. That's HTAT, or at Lin_Manual_Veranda. That's Lin Manual Veranda. And manual as in manual transmission.
Awesome.
Go find Eric on Twitter. He loves talking to people on Twitter.
Yeah, I do it all the time. That view limit's really hurting me, let me tell you.
Oh, and of course, if you go listen to the Streaming Heap, leave us a 5-star review on the podcast platform of your choice, especially on Apple Podcast.
Yeah, and if you're watching this right now, just go do that on Apple Podcasts. You don't even have to listen. Just leave us a review.
You want to do your YouTuber things, Eric?
Like and subscribe, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, you're already subscribed if you're watching, probably. But yeah, hit that like button. Don't forget to smash that like button. This is another reminder. Hit that smash button.
Yeah,
just go ahead. Button. Yes.
Just go and click all the links in the description. Just click them all.
And yeah, I've got a video of the Rocketeer coming up on Sunday, so that'll be fun.
Does anybody? We're wrapping up, obviously, but does anybody in the chat has last burning questions? I guess.
Yeah, we'll answer anything. We might not answer truthfully, but we'll answer.
Yeah, we hold the right to plead the fifth, obviously. All right. Well, I think we answered all the questions.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Like throughout while we're chatting. So, Eric, this is your channel.
Oh, never be ashamed of what you love, as long as you're not hurting anybody. Respect and enjoy the peace. Life is but a stream. Any of those will do.
Some of you stand to be a little bit more ashamed. I've seen your browser history, you animals. All right, bye.
Bye. And